Oh, I always forget to take that stupid sign down. Hold on. Sorry, guys. There we go.
There
That's
we
better.
are.
Now you can see us. What's up, crypto heads? It's the Goose. Welcome to the Cryptic Paranormal Show. I'm back. Was out last week for a little bit of family stuff going on. I had to attend to. Um, we live by one rule on the show. It's always family first. So we don't get paid to do this, but it is fun and it is refreshing to get back and be with everybody again tonight. So with that being said, as usual, got co-host right over there, right next to me, Denise. Denise.
Hey, sorry. You said family first, right?
Yeah, right. Good to see you. I missed you guys last week. We got Heisenberg down there. What's up, buddy?
What's up?
How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Living the dream.
Dude, I just want to say you guys did a killer job last week filling in for my spot, my vacant spot. So thank you guys for holding up the show.
I swear Denise laughed every time I asked a question.
She did. That's funny. But we got a little bit of limited time. We usually our guests are on for a little bit long, but Kenny is a busy man. We got special guest Kenny Irish with us. What is up, sir? How are you doing?
I am fantastic. Happy Friday Eve.
Yeah, right? No kidding, right? I think tomorrow's it's a Friday the 13th coming up tomorrow in 2020. I think I'd like to just skip it and go right to Saturday if we could.
Yeah.
Yeah, Saturday the 14th. Speaking of that, have you ever seen that movie, Saturday the 14th?
No. Never heard of it.
Oh, you got. I used to watch it when I was young. I don't know, maybe 6 or 7. Yeah, it's called Saturday the 14th. It's a spoof, but it's phenomenal. Yeah. It's nice. Completely worth the hour and a half of your time to watch.
That's awesome. I'll have to check that out, man. I got to write that down.
Is it scary?
Is it
scary?
Is it scary?
I wouldn't say scary, but it's scary that it actually got out and was actually and that I actually brought it up and just associated myself with it. But in reality, it really is. It's one of those movies you watch it and maybe watch it again, maybe not watch it a third time, but it's definitely worth watching once, and it's a really good movie. It really is. It's really stupid, but it's meant to be stupid too. So, and that's the humor I like.
I swear, if I watch it and I get scared, I'm gonna be so pissed at you.
Just get in line, man. Get in line. Long line of people.
Yeah, he's a ghost hunter, but he doesn't like horror movies. Go figure.
Yeah.
Oh, Denise is the same way, aren't you? You don't like.
Yeah, I don't watch horror movies either.
Yeah, I love the old classics, man. I'm gonna have to check this Saturday the 14th out. That's hilarious. But let's get to know about you, sir. First, let's just dive into it. Explain to me what crypto-punkologist is.
Okay, sure. So one of the things that I do for a living is during the week I run a business, and I'm big into like sales and marketing, and so it's one of those things. Every time you kind of turn around, it's you come across people saying cryptozoologist, and and there's a lot of people that like I really can't even call myself one, because there's so many like greats out there that that really are. And me personally, I love the subject of cryptids, and I'm also a musician. I'm stage. Cool. Yeah, I'm stage retired. Like I don't play out anymore. But I'm a big fan of hardcore and punk and ska, and it's it's kind of my two passions. The subject of cryptids in music. I just kind of put them all together, and from a marketing point of view too. It's I mean, if people said to you, hey, name a couple of cryptozoologists, you can name some. They say, hey, who's the crypto-punkologist? You're going to say it's Kenny W. Irish. So again, it's there's a lot, it's marketing. It kind of helps me kind of stand out a little bit too. And, one of my friends was Gary, who's the founder of the Sasquatch group that I'm with. He would always talk about my hair because, it's like I'm a businessman all week, but, I kind of got the fro thing going on, which I can't do at work. I can't have like a real mohawk doing what I do. And so I'm kind of straggling, kind of holding on to it. And so we were just kind of joking around too. And, called myself the crypto punk. And then I'm like, nah, I'm the crypto-punkologist.
Right.
Like, that's what you are. So, and the fact that he said that's what you are, it's okay for me to take that nickname because, you really can't name yourself. You can't give yourself a nickname. Somebody else has to give you your nickname. So, so I just been kind of rolling with that. And it's really strange though, too, to just, go on Google search and punch in the crypto-punkologist and see my ugly mug pop up. But at the same time, again, it's it's a good thing because it helps me kind of stand out a little bit too, and because there's so many people in this subject and industry, and I'm not trying to be better than anybody else, but if you do marketing, that's part of what you do for a living. You look for ways to stick out and be seen. And it's something that's in me. So, I'm a salesman by like nature. And, again, marketing goes right along with that. So, a lot of people get upset, when people, kind of bash them online, this and that. I'm like, go ahead and bash me. I'm one of those guys, like even bad publicity is good because people will look me up and then they'll buy my book. And, so it's like, thank you for helping me out there. So plus I got thick skin and nothing really bothers me.
Yeah, that's good. You got to have thick skin to be out there in that freaking crazy deep woods looking for that creature, man.
Oh, wait. I'm gonna change the subject here a little bit.
Oh, here we go.
So we hear enough about Bigfoot. I want to know some more about some other cryptids that will make me not want to leave my house or go into the woods.
That's pretty much every single one of them. I'll be honest with you. Like the group that I joined, one of the reasons I joined the group that I'm with is because the leader, he's a mountaineer guy. He's a bushwhacker, and he knows how to survive in the woods with pretty much nothing. I'm a big wuss, so I had to join a team where somebody was really strong in that aspect. So because every single one of these cryptids scares the crap out of me. But I wanna, before I die, I want to witness, I want to, have, an encounter, even if it's from far away, because I haven't personally, witnessed, and been able to actually have my eyes on any type of cryptid. So, and I'm hoping again, before I pass, I'll actually get to witness one. And I'm hoping it's not I witness one and then I pass because it grabs a hold of me. But because I can run fast. I've been known to run fast. I've been known to run my mouth and then turn and run. So, so I've gotten really good at that over the years. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's more of a legend in spirits than actually like a cryptid. Have you guys ever heard of the boo hags?
No.
They're
I've heard the term, but I'm not familiar with what exactly they are.
Yeah, it's kind of skinwalker like, and I guess it comes from North and South Carolina area. It pretty much, they're saying they're kind of like spirits that will they're kind of like witches that are spirits, and they'll actually come in through windows, and when they describe this and they say this, they say they come in and they pretty much target men, and they say that they ride them in their sleep. I don't know what that means. I don't know. Seriously, it just says that. It doesn't describe it. But they actually will breathe the individual soul out of their body, and then the individual will die, and they'll take in that life. And I've even heard that they'll even become that person for a while until it runs out of energy. So again, that's definitely not a cryptid. It's more on the legend, but it's just one of those things that's really cool. I don't know where it came from. I don't know what the backstory is on it, but it's just one of those things that's just like really cool. Like, you know, I'm a cryptid guy. I love legends. I love lore. I run from paranormal. Like, you know, that crap just scares the crap out of me. You know, like if somebody says to me, hey, you want to go into this house and ghost hunt? You know, I heard it's haunted. It's really old. I'm gonna be like, nah. But if they say to me, they're like, hey, you want to go in there and explore this house? Absolutely. I love exploring things and going into houses. But if we go in there and we're trying to get somebody, you know, a spirit or somebody who's dead I'm all good. I don't need anything attaching to me and bringing it home. And I just, I'll scream. I'll literally scream.
Yeah, it's funny.
You and I are like opposites.
Right.
What's that? Yeah.
I was going to say, us ghost hunters think you guys are crazy.
Yeah.
We are. We're mental. We're absolutely mental. There's nothing normal about us.
Same thing goes with us too.
Yeah. Not at all. Not one ounce of normalcy in our bodies.
Awesome.
What got you started in cryptozoology? What got you out there in the woods looking for Bigfoot?
Well, you know, the funny thing is you know, everybody kind of sees me as like, you know, mainly like a Bigfoot guy. And I understand why, but my first cryptid, my first love in this field was Champ. I'm actually from northern Vermont. Okay. And so I lived near Lake Champlain, and I grew up hearing about Champ and just, you know, just wanting to see Champ. I've never got the opportunity to, you know, yet. I've got some friends, you know, that, you know, definitely, you know, they go out, you know, they look. One of my friends, Katie, she does it, you know, almost full time, and it's you know, so I mean, that kind of what got me into it. And then as I grew a little bit older, and you know, I kind of, you know, got more into like music and girls and stuff, I kind of left, you know, all that kind of behind for a little bit. But, you know, at a young age, you know, I loved Godzilla and King Kong, you know, the Incredible Hulk. And, I always wanted to be the Incredible Hulk. And even still to this day, I'd love to be the Incredible Hulk. But, you know, in my senior year in high school, I ended up taking a class called Gothic Tales. And it was for English. And the English teacher was actually my mom's English teacher, which was kind of cool. So we ended up like just watching movies over and over again. And they were like Stephen King movies. And then he started, you know, talking about legends. And then he brought up Sasquatch. And you know, I had heard of Bigfoot, and my understanding was there was one Bigfoot, and it was just seen all over the world. You know, never really thought about it. And then he kind of started bringing up, you know, like the Mothman, and it kind of just brought me back to like when I was younger, you know, like I'm like, you know, I love this, you know, again, any legends, any lore, you know, I'm really, really drawn to it. And it kind of got me back into it. And I just kind of held on to that. And I used to write a lot, you know, all through school. And then once I graduated, and, you know, I gave college the old try. You know, I started playing in bands and different things, and you know, we did real well. I mean, we were big in like Puerto Rico. I don't know how, I don't know why, but we were really big in Puerto Rico. You know, we were in different, you know, on different radio stations, and you know, I still kind of had that in the back of my mind. You know, again, just loving just the strange and the odd and the unexplained, and you know, growing up watching the shows like Unsolved Mysteries, and it's just different shows like that. And I mean, the show Unsolved Mysteries, when that guy comes out, you know, with a trench coat, like in the original ones, he's just staring at the camera. Like I remember as a kid, I used to get like just revved up about that. I'm like, yeah, here he goes. He's going into it. He's going into it. He's doing it. And then he starts the story. And so, you know, stuff like that have always been like a part of me. And then I started, you know, I kind of, you know, put the guitar down, or excuse me, I put the stages down, and then just kind of, you know, got back into writing, I'd say back in 2012, 2013. And, you know, just kind of went to town with it. And then I ended up getting like my first book deal, my first contract with a pretty large publisher. And I was with them for a while, and I had an agent, and I ended up just kind of kicking them to the curb after a while, because I don't know, I'm more of a kind of an independent guy. Plus I'm also like, again, you know, I've got kind of like a salesman at heart. So like my agent is like, no, they said no. I'm like, what do you mean they said no? I don't take for an answer. So, you know, I'd reach out, I'd call them, and then now I'm on the show, you know, and so it's like, come on, guys, you know, you gotta fight with it. Like, I remember I left a book signing one time and I had 5 books left. And I'm like, how am I going to get rid of these books? It's like, because every book signing, I'm like, I want to just sell out. So I went through Dunkin' Donuts to get a coffee, and I went through the drive-through, and the girl that you know, took my order was taking the money. I'm like, because this was a young reader's chapter book that I'd written, and I'm like, how old are your kids? And she's like, well, how do you know I have kids? I'm like, I'm just guessing. She's like, oh, she goes, they're blah blah blah. And I said, all right. I said, you know, I'm an author. I just came from a book sign. I got a couple books left. I said, I'll discount them, you know, if you guys want to buy them. So she started yelling at everybody else in there. So they had me drive around. I went inside, you know, and signed them up. And it's like, you know, if I'm going to have somebody represent me, I want them to be as passionate about it and be as driven about it, you know? So I ended up kind of, you know, branching off and, you know, kind of doing my own thing, and been agenting, if you will, agenting. I don't even know if that's a real word myself. You know, my own, you know, getting myself booked at different events, this and that. And I used to do that with my band as well. So, but, you know, it's getting to a point where, you know, it's, even though, you know, COVID's going on, it's like getting really busy. Like 2020, I was supposed to be at like eight or 9 different conferences all over the country, but like they literally all got canceled. And so 2021, you know, hopefully, you know, because I know that they're being rescheduled. Hopefully, you know, they don't get canceled. And because there's a lot of folks just like this that I'm friends with, that I consider friends, but they're like, you're all virtual friends, you know?
Right.
And it's like, so I want to be able to get out to these locations and be able to just, you know, meet people and meet everybody, and, you know, and, you know, shake hands, and then, you know, Purell right after. But, you know, so, you know, that's kind of, you know, so I'm looking forward to 2021. And, you know, I'm definitely by no means going to say that, you know, 2020 was a bust, because, you know, there's been a lot of shows that I've been on. We've met a lot of people. It's been good. I've really enjoyed it. I got back in June, I ended up going on a show that was like, you know, I always wanted to be on. Like, I love George Norrie. And so I had an opportunity. I got invited to go on Coast to Coast AM. So that was, I was just like, that was like,
that's,
you know,
like, that's kind of a big deal for paranormal researchers. You get on that show, you know, you've kind of made it.
it was awesome. And the thing was, like, I was supposed to be on it in February, and I had to cancel. Something came up, so I'm like, there's my shot. And then a couple months later, the producer reached out to me. They're like, hey, we'd like to get you on here. We really want to have you on here as a guest. And I'm like, fantastic. Because I literally thought when I canceled that, you know, that was it.
Right.
Because it wasn't like I canceled like 3 weeks prior either. It was like 2 days prior.
Oh, geez.
Oh, no.
So I'm just like, oh, this is, you know, I'm like, well, at least I can say that I was scheduled, you know. And, but yeah, they invited me back on. It was a great show. I love talking to George. And, you know, again, there's a lot of shows. I don't know have you guys ever heard of the Leak Project?
Vaguely.
Is the host, his name's Rex Bear. Hilarious guy. If you guys get an opportunity, you know, definitely, you know, check out his show. Awesome guy. Awesome. Really nice guy. And, so again, I met a lot of people, you know, virtually. And I'm looking forward to, you know, definitely, you know, meeting people face to face as well.
Right.
Yeah. It's been a tough year, because there was a couple things, quite a few events we were supposed to go to that all got canceled.
Yeah.
You know, it's a tough year. But like you said, I mean, it wasn't a complete bust. I mean, we've been doing pretty well with the show here, and that's been a blessing, just to have something to do, something to focus on. We've made a lot of friends through the show. We got Tina. Let's see, we got Peggy, Holly, a bunch of awesome people that watch the show all the time. Mama Tina actually said, Mike, that Kenny, she's telling Kenny that we're going to donate Heisenberg so you can duct tape him to a tree with a bowl of mango for your next Sasquatch hunt.
You know, would that be what we call gifting?
Yeah.
Damn right.
With no returns. No returns.
But,
No returns.
Doesn't matter whether you got a receipt or not.
Right?
but she did ask a question for you. She's wondering to know if you've ever seen signs of Bigfoot, like hair tracks, any constructed shelters, that type of
Or
thing.
any cryptid, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got a research area up in the Adirondacks, just outside of Whitehall, New York, which is considered the epicenter for Bigfoot sightings on the East Coast. And yeah, we've got a location up there that we research in, and we set different camps up at. And yeah, I mean, we've come across some strange activity. We've had twice, we found a 13-inch footprint in it, and not like together, like there was one like right in the middle of the camp, and then there was one like further, maybe 100 yards away from the camp, which was kind of neat, because usually you find them kind of all together, and if you find like something that's a different size, it's or one that's somewhere else, it's usually a different size. So it was just kind of neat that we were able to find that. And we're very skeptical in everything that we do as well. Like, I mean, if we're looking at something and we're just like, we can't be like, yeah, that really is like 90% this.
Right.
We don't even talk about it after that. We just kind of throw it out. And, a lot of the time too, people will be like, hey, you guys went out last night, what'd you find? This and that. We're like, nothing. Yeah. We didn't find anything, and a lot of people don't like saying that, because they kind of feel like, you lose credibility. It's like, nah, you lose credibility if you go out and you try to say that you found something every single time, and
like you gain credibility.
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, we've seen, different things, and, we've had some really, really strange experiences. And like there was this one of the first times that I went out with this team. We do some stuff, that's Hollywood kind of TV show, but at the same time, we don't do a lot of it, because, we observe a lot more than we try to, yell and do all this and that. Because I mean, in my opinion, if something's elusive and it's trying to not be found, if you're out there, you're yelling, I don't know that to me, like, if you're trying to get away, it's just they're gonna go away. So so we go out and we try to be logical and not bring any Hollywood into what we do. But we did do the tree knocks, and it was probably maybe like 1 a.m. in the morning, somewhere around that time. And I was with one of the researchers out on a road, a dirt road. And again, we're out in the middle of nowhere, and it's the dead of summer, and Gary is back at the camp with our tech guy. And, so he radios us and says, hey, I'm going to do a tree knock. So we're like, okay, go ahead and do it. So, we heard him do it in the distance. And like 45 seconds later, there was like an exact knock. Came back, and we had digital recorders up, so we actually caught it on the recorder. So we're not saying that it was a Bigfoot. We're not saying it was a Sasquatch, but we are saying that we don't know what it was. It's not like there was wind blowing or anything, where like the trees are waving and then they're going to make like a crack noise or anything. I mean, it was just dead silent. There was no wind, there was nothing. Also that night, it kind of, we like in the distance, you could hear something that was kind of like, it sounded like it was kind of like following us, but then again, that could have been like any type of animal. We didn't see actually what it was. And then back in the spring, we ended up going back into this one area that we researched, because there's a couple different areas. And when we were out there, because all the research that I do is mainly, like it's all lore from the Native Americans, like that. I go way back. There's nothing that I really study today. Because there's so much BS and a lot of stuff that's going on today. So the answers that I want and I look for, I go way back. And so we came up with this idea, and we took a speaker and a laptop out into our research area, and it's like it's just completely dark out, and we just played some Native American drumming and chanting. Just thinking, well, you know, Native Americans always talked about how they understood the language of the Sasquatches and that they communicated with them. So we're like, hey, why not? You know, we'll give it a shot and just see what happens. After it was done, I mean, we could hear something moving in the distance, something walking. Again, we couldn't see anything. Could have been any type of animal, but it was just, let me just say it like this. If you ever get an opportunity to go in the middle of the woods when it's dark and play something like that, it is just, it's an amazing experience and it's scary all at the same time. It's really scary, but it's kind of, you know, like my adrenaline was going. But so we didn't end up seeing anything. And then, you know, we couldn't hear anything walking anymore. We ended up wrapping everything up and leaving, and we were walking back to the cars, and I turned around and I looked behind me, and where we actually were, there was this like bright light there. And we have no clue what it was. You know, a lot of the time, you know, people thinking, oh, well, you know, swamp gases, this and that. It's nothing like that. Because first thing we're going to try to do is say, okay, this is what it is, you know. But there's no trails out there. There was nothing. I mean, if you go out in the woods with our leader Gary, like you're on a trail for like 28 seconds, and then that's it. And then he bushwhacks. So and it was just out there. And there was no reason for that to be out there. So you know, we kind of sit back and we're just like, okay, so did this have something to do with the fact that we played that music? And you know, we don't know. You know, we've got no answers to it. We definitely have experiences, but no reason for these experiences that we can actually say this is why this was this and this was that. Again, it's just, you know, like a real neat kind of cool experience, kind of scary at the same time, because again, you know, seeing a light, you know, I would see that more as like a paranormal type of thing. So I kind of wanted to get out of there after that. And then Gary ended up going back there on his own a few weeks later, and you know, just had some weird experiences. Like you know, he had like a trail cam and a couple cameras, and one of them just kept taking pictures, and he's like, oh, what's wrong with this thing? So he took the batteries out, you know, to stop it, you know, from going and everything. And for 60 seconds after, even though the batteries are out, it continued to take pictures. Now, you know, I know that you know, certain electronics can still hold like somewhat of a charge, and you know, still kind of, you know, do some functioning, but you're usually 5-6 seconds maybe tops.
One or two pictures, maybe.
This just kept going and going and going, and he ended up like putting it finally stopped. He ended up putting the batteries back in it, and it was fine after that. There was absolutely no issues, and then first, the reason he was taking the batteries out of it was because at first there was something wrong with the camera. He was trying to figure out what it was. So that's why he was taking the batteries out and was going to put some new batteries in it. And so that's how it originally started. So he ended up walking back to his car. And when he got to his car, his battery for his car was completely dead. And he'd only been there maybe like 30 minutes, and he had stopped a couple times. He drove like an hour or so to get out into that area. So it's just again some real creepy stuff. And then, you know, somebody ended up coming through, and they went to jumpstart his car, and the battery was just completely dead, dead, which doesn't make any sense, because even if the battery doesn't start the car, it should still jump. And the car is only a couple years old, and so they ended up giving him a ride down to, you know, where he could get cell service, and they ended up having to have it towed. And the next day he dropped a new battery in it, and it 100% worked. It was all good. He's had no issues since then. So we kind of joke, but at the same time, we're just kind of like, something didn't want you to leave. You know, something was trying to get your attention. So But yeah, so again, weird experiences, just weird stuff, and I'm glad I wasn't there for that one, because that would have just
especially once the car wouldn't start, like then you're for real stuck there, you know, and then it becomes a lot more real, you know. At least if you have the car, you have a way to get away if you have to. But
not gonna lie, if my battery died like that, I'd be on the ground crying.
Right?
Oh my god. underneath my car.
Yeah, he got so lucky that there was somebody there, that somebody came through.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just he got very, very lucky. That was the only lucky thing that he had happen that night. But again, you know, it's just a lot of weird experiences. You know, being out in the woods, and a lot of really cool, fun experiences. But again, you know, some very, very weird things that you can't really explain.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, my buddies, they own a cabin out in Kane, Pennsylvania. It's right on the outskirts of the national forest out there, the Allegheny National Forest, and you know, out there always a hotbed of supposed activity. I wasn't there with them this weekend camp out, but they told me a story I thought was pretty interesting. They'd all just finally gone to bed, you know, after a night of man drinking, drinking everybody under the table.
Sure.
But all of a sudden, they just something. They have a metal roof, and all of a sudden, it was like somebody was throwing rocks at the roof, and they couldn't figure out what it was. They kept running out. The cabin itself is not under trees; it's surrounded by trees, but none of them are nut-bearing trees. There's no fruit.
Sure. Right.
What looked like little stones that they were picking up and being thrown at the house. They couldn't figure it out, and they to this day think they might have had some kind of Bigfoot activity there. But I heard
Pukwudgie.
Yeah.
Well, they're probably pissed that they didn't get invited to drink.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. We've had something similar like that. We were at where we were camping, and we had they weren't big rocks or anything, just kind of thrown our way, and it's just like, what does that? You know, when you're talking to people too, you know, and somebody's telling you, you know, different situations and, you know, experiences like this, you know, the first thing you think, well, why didn't you go investigate it? And it's like, me personally, it's like, I used to think that way, but now I'm just like, okay, all right, I'm just going to go with that experience. That's all I need to know. So, because I mean, is it a raccoon, you know, picking it up, just chucking it? I don't know, but something's throwing a rock and smart enough to throw a rock. So I'm just, you know, hey, I'm going to hang out where I'm at and hope I don't get hit.
How much exactly did you guys drink? How many kegs did you guys tap that night?
Right.
But all of them swear to God they were all up and they were all hearing the same noise. So I don't know. It's interesting stuff. And one thing I always ask of people that we have on, of like cryptozoologists, like how would you classify Bigfoot? There's so many different schools of thought, and you know, some people will tell you that it's a Native American spiritual being. I've heard the theories and surrounding that there could be possibly alien activity. There could be alien beings, interdimensional beings, or do you just think it's a flesh and bones animal? What's your idea on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm high 90% of flesh and blood, but you know, but again, you know, when you study, you know, the Native American lore, you know, like you said, I mean, some tribes describe them as flesh and blood, but also of spirit. I don't necessarily know what that actually means. Others have said, you know, that they're like an undeveloped, I guess, you know, human type of flesh and blood creature, or like humanoid type of thing. Others, you know, so I don't know, you know, I'm on the flesh and blood side, but yet, you know, there's enough evidence and, you know, people who I've spoken to that I would consider to be, you know, credible, you know, that have, you know, said, well, I had this experience where, you know, I saw this strange light up in the sky, you know, and then, you know, we had this encounter with you know, what we believe to be a Sasquatch, you know, shortly after. So, you know, they believe, you know, they're extraterrestrial. Some people, you know, say paranormal because, you know, they're like, you know, you see them and then they're gone, or you see a line of footprints and then all of a sudden they disappear, you know. So there's a lot of reasons why, you know, a lot of people have different theories. Some people, you know, just strictly go right to the paranormal because they want to believe that they exist. And a lot of the time when you say paranormal, it leaves the door wide open, you know? So, and there's so, and I always say this a lot too, you know, there's a lot of people that you know, they want to believe more than they want to know. So when you want to believe, you kind of try to come up with an answer that makes sense, you know, to kind of feed that need to believe what you're, you know, what you want to believe in. So, I'm definitely, you know, on the more on the flesh and blood side, but you know, at the same time, I mean, you know, I don't know. I mean, you know, science hasn't been able to say, yes, this is what this is and what that isn't. And I'm kind of glad for that in many ways, because obviously when, you know, unfortunately when science gets involved in something, especially if it's flesh and blood, you know, it's usually it turns into an experiment and dissected. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, I've heard so many different theories, and all I can say is that there's enough evidence to suggest paranormal, extraterrestrial, and flesh and blood. I mean, there really is, and that's the tough part about it. And you know, I'll have people, you know, that'll be like, well, no, they are this because of this. It's like, okay, you know, you know, that's you know, kind of your opinion, and you guys know, you know, being in the paranormal realm, it's the same thing, you know, like if you say theory, people get upset. It's like it's a bad word, you know. If you say opinion, it's a bad word, and if you say I don't know, you know, people feel like you lose credibility, and you know, it's just to me, I'd rather tell somebody I don't know, you know, than try to just try to come up with something. And and at the same time, who knows? I mean, we really don't know. And you know, and we also come across, you know, the individuals that, you know, consider themselves the experts, and they know all. And you know, and the thing is you know, I've always said it like this: you can't be an expert in a subject that has no accountability. Meaning, if, for instance, if somebody said to me, and this is the example I always use, if somebody says to me, hey, Ken, you know, black bears turn their skin inside out during the summer to stay cool, I could just go to the library or pull up a book and go, oh, no, that's incorrect. But with this, it's just kind of like a free for all. So but I will say this, is that I don't believe there's such thing as an expert, but there are professionals, and I say this all the time. There are professionals. You know, Lyle Blackburn, Ken Gerhard. You know, these guys are professionals. Lauren Coleman, they're professionals, and you know, and they specialize in certain areas too. You know, so you know, like Cliff Brackman, like his like he's big into like footprints, and you know, he kind of specializes in that. And but again, you know, it's like there's professionals, and you know, I've had people that have gotten really upset at me because you know, they're like, oh no, it's paranormal. I'm like, oh okay, yeah. I mean, it could be. Like, no, it is. I'm like, no. I'm like, okay. And they're like, you know, I'm an expert. I've been doing this for 30 years, and blah blah blah, you know. And it's just like, can we just admit that we don't 100% know, and just we just continue to be friends here? And
and isn't that why you're all there, is because you want to know, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, I had one guy that was just ripping away, and you know, and he brought it up 3 or 4 times. I've been doing this for 30 years, you know, and I saw I'm an expert. I said, well, you know, I landed him with that, you know, everybody's heard it. Well, you know, you're an expert at not finding Bigfoot for 30 years, you know, you haven't found, you know. So you know, it's just, you know, I mean, I support everybody. I support, you know, the big names and people just getting into it. And the only way you can support somebody is to be open-minded and to listen, because I can't tell you how many times during the day I'm wrong about something. You know, so if I try to say, hey, I'm right in this, in something that I can't even explain myself, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous.
And like the way it is with the paranormal, you know, people will claim to be experts, you know, like, cool, you've been doing this for 30 years, but what have you done in that 30 years? You know what I mean? Like, what breakthroughs have we done? Maybe it's the new guys that we need who are going to come with a different approach. You know, like, yeah, you've been doing the same thing for 30 years. Let's try this now. Yeah. And just because they're new doesn't mean that it's not a good idea, you know?
Agreed.
And that's when I have a hard time, is when people like shoot other people down because they haven't been doing it for 30 years. Like, I'm sorry, I was 7 when you started. You're right. I should have been doing it. You know,
Well, the other thing too is like, you know, like I remember it was like 2001, 2002, somewhere around that time. I was sitting and I was watching TV, and the show Ghost Hunters came out. I'd never heard of it, and I'm watching it. And I'm like, what is this? I'm like, this is just weird. But like, I kind of enjoyed it and was watching it, got into it, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is, I know it's like reality TV, but at the same time, you know, I'm just like, you know, these guys are out doing this. And I was just like, I didn't know people did this. Like, I grew up watching the Ghostbuster movies, loving it, but I'm like, I didn't know people went out and did that. I had absolutely no clue that people actually went out and did that. You know, I thought it was just,
and that there was equipment for it, and like, you know, it's real life.
And it was pretty much immediately after I saw a couple episodes of that, I was out doing it myself.
And that's the thing. It's just like, you know, like the show Finding Bigfoot. I love the show Finding Bigfoot. That show made Finding Bigfoot mainstream, which has its good parts and its curses at the same time. You know, because now, you know, you've got everybody out running around in the woods, you know, and some people with guns and this and that. But you know, it's a lot of these shows, you know, really just kind of set in motion and kind of brought it mainstream and in front of a lot of people's, you know, eyes. And again, it's got its good points to it and its bad points. And you know, some of the bad points is that I ended up getting into it because of it. So that's not a, you know, so it's just, but yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, there's so many different ways of doing things. And, you know, and the founder of the group that I'm with, Gary, he also runs a paranormal group. He's been doing that for like 25 years. It's called, Tri-City, New York Paranormal Society. And he's been doing that for like 25 years. And he I mean, he definitely knows his stuff, and he'll even tell you that, you know, over the years he's changed approaches and you know, to try to, you know, he still keeps, you know, like the old school solid, you know, things that he did then, but you know, he also changes it up with the group and you know, tries different things. But it's the same thing with the New York Bigfoot Society group that I'm with him. It's the same thing, you know. It's like, if there was nothing there, there was nothing there. You know, there's no this happened, that happened, and you know, if a door shut on its own, you know, he finds where the breeze was coming from. You know, different things like that. And then if he can't, you know, he still does, you know, won't just say, okay, well, it was paranormal, because it still could have been something else that they just never saw. But it's I don't know where I was going with that. I was going somewhere, but. I'm tired. I slept. I get up about around 5 o'clock in the morning. And yesterday I got up and went to work. And then I was on a radio show last night called Midnight FM, and it started at 10 p.m. And I thought it was like a 2-hour show. So I thought it was getting done at like midnight. So about 11:30, you know, p.m. I'm like, I could like already like forgetting, you know, like what my name was, and you know, and I'm like, oh, there's only 30 minutes left. I mean, I was having a great time on the show. The host, great show, and he's like, we went to a commercial break, and he's like, he said, we're halfway through. I'm like, halfway through, and I'm like, oh no, this goes to 1. So I'm like, oh man. So I did my best just to stay awake, because I'm also a napper too. Like I can nap anywhere. And then so I ended up, you know, I got, you know, I left where I was and got home, and then I ended up getting up at like 5 o'clock this morning. So I only got a few hours of sleep. So but you know, but this is, you know, this is my passion. I love this. You know, this is you know, it drives me, and I don't have to you know, carry amplifiers and wait for drummers to show up that are always late.
I would there's no groupies out in the woods either, so
no.
I will say that I'm a professional Bigfoot avoider.
Okay.
There you go.
I worked very hard at it. I studied.
I think you might be an expert. I will have to say that. You might be an expert.
Avoider.
I would say that I have to be too, because I still haven't seen one. So they're obviously an expert at avoiding me. They're like, oh, there's that idiot with the stupid haircut. Look at that, you know. But I was on a show.
We got a Sasquatch out there with a really cool
right. That guy. I like that.
It was funny, you know, too, because I think about the hair. You know, that's how a lot of people remember me too. Well, Saturday night I was on a radio show called Bigfoot Cafe, and I had to use my phone. And so I kind of had it like up to my face, and the way my face was and the way my hair was, I literally looked like one of the lollipop kids from like the Wizard of Oz. You know, they're dancing, they got the the hair. And I'm just like, oh my god! And the whole time I'm on there, it's like I'm trying to not start laughing.
Yeah, I'm distracted by how
laughing at myself. I'm like, man. But again, it's a lot of fun. It's a passion, and it's this is me in my 40s trying to hold on to my 20s. So
right.
Now all I can imagine is like there's a Bigfoot out there that liked your hair, and he's walking around with the mohawk.
Yeah, he's trying to figure out how to get.
I hope so. If I'm ever out,
questions. Can we try to get to those? Because
there was a couple.
Yeah,
we're asking a lot of questions.
We'll
go to Peggy first.
Yeah.
Oh, you want me to read it? Okay.
Yeah.
She said, from all the stories I've heard, cryptids tend to stay away from humans and are just as afraid of us as we are of them. Have you ever heard anything to the contrary?
I have very little on the Sasquatch side. They, every once in a while, somebody will say like they had an encounter that seemed kind of violent. It was still from a distance. But anytime somebody talks to me about, saying that, they've heard about a dogman encounter, or somebody said that they had a dogman encounter, they said that it's, they are trying to avoid them, but what's been explained to me is like, they're more willing to kind of like take you on, and a lot of people call them the dick of the cryptids. Like they're just a total complete jerk. So for the most part, my understanding, and I'd say maybe 99% of what folks say is that they're trying to get away, that they're actually trying to avoid us, which completely makes sense. But at the same time, I mean, if you come across one and it's kind of standing its ground, you got to stop and think, well, a lot of individuals will say that, they've witnessed some juvenile Sasquatches before, and if, they're breeding, well, then, yeah, they're going to have kids. And, so that might be why they may have that situation. But as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to like Dogman, I've always seen Dogman as like werewolves. So I've always said that that's in my opinion, that's what they are. If they did exist. But every encounter that I've heard of that had to do with the Dogman, like it didn't want to back down. Like it was like it's like it wanted to fight, and it didn't run away. So so I definitely am not going out looking for any Dogman. And if somebody's like, hey, I've got a Dogman witness, can you guys come out? Or I'll be like, the guys could go out. Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna sit home. I'm gonna be the armchair researcher tonight. So
give me a call if you need anything. I'll come out.
I'll Google some stuff for you.
Yeah, home. Call me if you need me. If I don't show up in 10 minutes, just keep waiting.
Right. Yeah. Call somebody else. And then Anne wanted to know any recommendations on Native American stories or lore.
The best way for me to answer that is yes. Anything you can get your hands on. There's so much history. There's so much lore and creatures that nobody even talks about. Everybody talks about like sea serpents and like Champ and Nessie, but I mean there's all kinds of other creatures, flying creatures that they would talk about that were like large snakes with wings. And so any history that you can pick up on it and read it, I recommend doing it. And because some of it's really fascinating. I mean, they've got stories about, you know, like little people, I mean, trolls, just all kinds of different, you know, lore legend. So I mean, I can't say that there's one that's better than the other, because after I read that, I'm going through my head, I'm like, yeah, this one's great. But then I'm like, oh, this one's great. Well, this one's great. So whatever you can get your hands on, absolutely grab it and just enjoy.
So do you find that, like, when you have a certain cryptid that has like sightings in a certain area, does it correlate with the Native American lore from that area as well?
From time to time, yeah. I mean, definitely, like the Abenaki, they're in the Vermont area, and they still talk about Champ. And you go back, that's in there. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Without a doubt. Yeah, that's actually a good question. No one's ever asked that.
Oh, well,
I'm gonna hold that one dear to my heart.
Expect a trophy in 3 to 5 business days. What else?
Sean Gilmore asks, he's got a question. What is a goose? Is it a cryptography creature, or is it a supernatural beast?
It's somebody that gave himself his own nickname.
When Kenny was talking about not giving himself his own nickname, I'm like,
you know, I was waiting for it.
Yeah, you're like, who does that?
Yeah, thank you, Sean.
Well, it's funny because I first when I first saw this show, you know, I only knew you as Goose.
Right.
You know, you know, so it's like I don't even know you as anything else, and I don't want to either, because Goose is like perfect. It's just 100% right there. It's just I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It started out as a joke because, I mean, when I started first getting into paranormal investigation, research, whatever, started hopping onto the social media groups and just watching people talk about themselves like that, and just, you know, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to start calling myself the Goose. It'll be a joke. I'll start talking about myself in the third person, like I'm this professional expert guy, you know, but it stuck and people enjoyed it. They laughed at me and like, all right, I'm entertaining people if nothing else. So it kind of stuck, and, you know, I've been the Goose ever since. Like, Michael always calls me Ray. He knows me as Ray. He never calls me Goose. When he refers to me as Ray, like around Denise and some other people we work with at like Madison Seminary or in the field, they're like, who the hell's Ray?
Right. I had no idea.
Oh yeah.
I had no idea.
You're so
before the Goose.
Yeah. You're so Goose to me. Like, I don't think I could even say your first name. Like, I don't think like my body would even let me just be like,
yeah,
Goose.
Yeah.
You just gotta keep hashtagging it. So again, you know, somebody punches in the Goose in Google, no matter where you are, your face pops up. That's what you gotta do. You gotta make sure that happens.
Oh, yeah. All right, I want to do something real quick. I want to get your opinion on a very historical piece of supposed evidence. You probably already know what I'm going to play for you.
I hate this.
But I always ask this of like every person we have on, because I'd love to hear people's opinions. So just bear with us for like 20 seconds. And you probably already know what it is.
There it is. Yep.
And there it goes. All right, so Bigfoot or man in an ape suit? What do you think?
I don't know. I really don't. You know, it's one of those things, like, you know, it's tough because it's one of those things where I say more towards a Bigfoot than a man in an ape suit, but you know, I don't know. And again, this is one of the reasons when I say, like, I do like all my research, like I go way back. And the thing is, it's tough because, you know, I've never met Bob, but I'd love to meet Bob. And you know, and it's one of those things where it's like, you know, with this video, you know, a lot of people are like, you know, you're either, I guess I'll say it like this, you're either Democrat or you're Republican when it comes to it. You're either believe it or you don't. You know, I don't know what, you know, at the time, what Bob would have had to gain by faking. I don't know. You know, I've never met him, and you know, from what I've seen, and you know, the people that I know that know him are like, you know, he's so genuine, he's so nice, and that's what I get from him when I see him. So that's why, you know, I'm like, you know, maybe this is a Sasquatch. I mean, I've never seen one myself, so I don't 100% know. And to be honest with you, when you started playing the video, I'm glad that that's why you were asking me, and it wasn't. You remember like the whole Bluff Creek massacre?
Yeah.
Did you hear about that? Okay, I was afraid you were going to go there, and yeah. I remember that came out like, I don't know, like 15 years ago. That came up, and then like it came up like last year or this year or something like that recently, and so I was glad that you didn't go there, because I don't know, it just got crazy. I mean, people were sending poor Bob like death threats and really, really crazy stuff. And it's just like, why would you do that? You know, you know, and there's always stories behind things. And, you know, and I had somebody, because they're like, well, you're not saying, you know, that film is 100%. You're saying that, you know, you're torn. I'm like, well, you know, I'm not saying that it isn't. I'm just like, you know, every video I pretty much, I want to see it for myself. And that's pretty much where I'm at. And
that's a healthy skepticism. It's not like you're, you know, you're just being an asshole about it. Like that's normal. You should be like that. You know, you shouldn't take everything you see on the internet to be true. You know,
exactly. You know, and you know, I had some people that were all upset, and you know, this and that, and I'm like, well, you know, when they did the whole, like, you know, they brought it up again this year or last year, you know, the whole Bluff Creek massacre crap. You know, it was MK Davis is the guy that, you know, he's some film guy, does something, this and that. And, you know, again, some people that were like upset at me, you know, because again, you know, it's black or white, you know, it's and, you know, you can't be in the middle, and you can't, you know, you just can't be you and think about it, you know, for a second, and, you know, you get jumped on. And, you know, I'm like, so you're telling me that, you know, I don't like Bob. From what I've seen, Bob, I wish Bob was my grandfather. I mean, he just said, you know, it's like when I see pictures, I just want to hug him, you know, you know, and, you know, to say something, you know, about somebody, you know, who's spent like, you know, the last 50 years of their life promoting and loving, you know, to say, oh, well, you actually just killed their whole family, and, this and that just kind of blew my mind. And, you know, I had a lot of people get really upset at me, and I had some people that were following me that stopped following me because I said, you want to know what I think? I said, I think MK Davis is a nut job. I said, that's what I think. And I think he needs to leave Bob alone. You know, and because I mean, anybody can go pull up a video and mess around with the contrast and see what you want to see in it. And I don't believe for a second Bob went out there and shot anybody. I don't. Not for or shot any Sasquatch. Now, I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe any of that. And I'm, you know, for his video, I'm in high 90s that it's real. You know, every once in a while I'll have somebody say to me, well, you know, it is real because, you know, they didn't have the, you know, there's this thing, you know, they didn't have technology back then to make costumes like that. Well, the following year, and this is nothing with Bob, but the following year, the movie Planet of the Apes came out.
Oh, nice.
Those costumes were very realistic looking. But again, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, sometimes, you know, like I'll have discussions with anybody on this as long as they don't like argue with me about it, because I don't believe what they believe, but you know, I think Bob's a credible individual. From the people that I know that know him well, and I look forward to the day that I get to meet him. And I was supposed to be in August in Washington State at the International Bigfoot Conference, and Bob was going to be there. So I was really looking forward to meeting him, but that got canceled like everything else. So, but yeah, you know, again, I mean, it's an intriguing video. You know, there are aspects to the video that certain people, you know, have tried to debunk, and they can't. You know, some of the arguments for why it's fake, I think, are nonsense. Some of the arguments for why some folks say it's real, I think, is nonsense as well.
And people are so passionate on either side, whatever side they're on, they will fight you to the death.
So I said,
it doesn't matter what
Democrat.
You say.
And you know, so you know, for me, you know, again, I'm high 90s that it's real. You know, I mean, you know, again, there's it's just, I don't know. You know, I'm one of those guys where I don't have to see something to believe it, but I want to see something. So
same way. Well, it's about that time. You got to get off here. You said
I was just
I'm almost starting to get to that point too, where I don't remember what my name is. So I got some of that conference marketing behind me, the branding. So I could always take that one with my face right there and just put it over here.
Forward. It's fine.
But but you know, I'm really happy, you know, that, you know, you guys invited me on, and you know, I've definitely, you know, tuned into the show, you know, off and on, and definitely have enjoyed it. And you know, I look forward to the, you know, day I get to, you know, meet you guys face to face, and
come back when you have more time sometime.
No, absolutely.
Actually, before you sign out, anything you want to plug coming up anytime soon, or is it pretty much kind of pushed out to 2021?
Yeah, I mean, all the events, all like appearances are pushed out, you know, to 2021. They're all supposed to happen, but you know, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, you know, as far as, you know, I'm going to be on some more, you know, for the rest of the year. I've got, you know, I don't know, 5 or 6 more radio shows that I'm going to be on. Nice. You know, so, you know, looking forward to that. But you know, just, you know, throw some, you know, shout outs. I don't know. One of my good friends, Edward Munch, he's a amateur filmmaker, and he just did some filming with a big name in the industry, and he's actually really stepping it up. And so if you guys get an opportunity to, you know, look him up. He also has a radio show called Bigfoot Quest, and he hasn't been doing the radio show as much because he's been doing a lot of filming recently. But you know, just kind of wanted to, you know, kind of throw a shout out, you know, to him. He's a good guy, and just he's kind of like a brother to me. Even though, again, he's a virtual friend, we've never actually met face to face. I've co-hosted on his show with him before, and we just became friends, just kind of clicked. And you know, if, you know, folks like to, you know, read books, or, you know, get something, you know, on their iPad or whatever, you know, I've got some books out. I've got a young readers chapter book called Stanley Riker and the Bigfoot Runaround. You can get that on Amazon. You can get that through my publisher. My most recent one is Folklore Frankenstein's, and that came out in June. And it's done fantastic. The big publisher that I was with previously, the amount of books that I sold in the first year, I sold in like the first few months, with the publisher that I'm with right now. So I've done, the book's done very well. And, it's, the introduction and forward is written by Ken Gerhard. And Katie Elizabeth wrote one as well, because at first I was like, I'm not going to have a forward to it. But then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to reach out to Ken and see, you know, and I'm like, here, let me send you the manuscript, read it, let me know, you know. And he came back, he's like, yeah, you know, I'd love to write a, you know, introduction forward for it. And then I was sitting there thinking, how cool would it be to have 2 forwards?
Right?
Nobody ever has 2 forwards. and again, I'm a champ. I'm a champ guy. I love the Lake Champlain monster, and that's Katie's passion, and that's what she specializes in. And you know, I've been virtual friends with her as well, and so I reached out to her, and she's like, "Yeah, I'd love to." So so in the way that Ken opened up the introduction and his forward, and the way he ended his and Katie picked it up, and then the way hers ended and actually goes into the actual book, it was like it couldn't have been any better. I mean, it was just awesome. The book was supposed to release in February of this year, and we held off and didn't release it right away. And I'm glad we didn't, because we ended up adding illustrations in it as well as the forwards. So, but yeah, it's done real well. So, you know, I'm pretty excited about it. And 2021, Folklore Frankenstein's 2 International Lore is going to be coming out. That's in the works. And another Young Readers chapter book, Alexandra in the Upside Down Halloween, which is a rebranding from my previous publisher. So
nice.
Yeah, gonna re-release it, and because it's no longer available now because the publisher. So I had to go through, rebrand it, and they're like, "You can't do that." I'm like, "You want to bet?" So you know, it's just like, I don't know. You know, you might be used to, you know, maybe talking to some authors that, you know, just kind of mousy in the corner, but you know, I read contracts every week. I sign, you know, $100,000 contracts every week with what I do for a living. So, you know, I know what I can do and what I can't do. So, so those are going to be released in 2021. And, so, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on, and, you know, just staying busy. And, you know, again, you know, it'd be nice to, you know, be able to get out and, you know, just run into all you folks and just have a good time, and, you know, just knock some stuff over.
I'm assuming your books are available on Amazon, all the usual places.
Yeah, it's available, you know, select, you know, brick and mortar locations like Cliff Brackman. He's got his museum, North American Bigfoot Center. You can buy it there. They're all autographed there. You can go on Amazon. You can go right through the publisher. So obviously, you know, the easiest way is just, you know, everybody's on Amazon every day anyways. So or you can reach out directly to me, and you know, that's the other way. So
all right,
we shared your website before, but I'll put it in the comments again.
Okay,
Excellent.
Thank you so much for being on, man. It was
thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. I was waiting.
Sorry, we went a little over.
Reach out to me.
We'll have you back on when you have a little bit more time, and hopefully things are a little bit more active for everybody.
Agreed.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks again, guys.
All right, thank you for being on.
Absolutely.
All right,
be safe, guys.
Good night.
Bye.
He's out in the woods all the time searching for Bigfoot, and he's telling us to be safe.
Well, I just I thought it was kind of really fantastic how open he was about how he does things.
Right.
He wants to see it, but he doesn't want to be like in the mix of it. You know? Just okay. I saw it.
I completely appreciate that.
I can tell you what, I'd be just as scared as the car pulling up to get me if I was out in the woods and my battery's dead.
Like, I mean, that's definitely something that's totally different from, you know,
a scary movie type thing right there.
Like at least we're in a building, you know, we can lock the door. We're relatively safe from, you know, people outside. You're just like totally vulnerable out in the middle of the woods, you know?
Yes. I like to see it in the comments are planning my demise here.
Yeah, well, you know.
A lot of talk about duct tape, trees, and mango.
I don't know what painkillers Tony's on to be talking about this shit, but
push the button for a little bit more morphine there, buddy. A little bit more morphine. No. Tony, actually,
I'll go with the mango. The duct tape, no, unless I could use it for repairing stuff. But
we'd have to, just to keep you from eating all the mango before the Bigfoot could smell it.
That's true.
You guys watched the video. What do you think? What do you think, Denise? Do you think that?
I think I'm exactly where he's at. I think I'm 90%.
Yeah.
Like I'm almost there, but I can't believe anything. You know, even
Right.
things that I see with my own eyes, I still am like, did I really?
Yeah.
Could it be something else? You know.
Yeah.
So
I completely agree.
I have a hard time believing anything 100%. So, but I do think that it's pretty compelling.
What about you, Mike?
I really want to not believe it. I really do.
But
listening to him talk, you know, he added some credibility to it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I like that he's like, I don't know, you know, like to me, when you say I don't know and you're not sure about things, that's where you add the credibility instead of just be like, oh yeah, that's 100% true. That's
right.
You know, but it looks pretty real to me.
Yeah.
You know, I think I'm right with Denise on, you know, around.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. Like he was saying, there's so much that makes me feel that it's real. Just by watching the video.
Right.
But then there's the skeptic side of me that's like, I want to believe it. I'm not like Mike where I don't want to believe it. I want to like seriously believe that's like real footage.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't know. I just like, especially nowadays, people show me shit like 20%. It's 90% it's bullshit.
Do you know how devastated I was when I found out there's a freaking app for your phone where you could just take a picture of a room and it'll put an apparition in the room and like make it look like it's real, but not like overdo it. I'm like, oh my God, that's a real thing. Like, so now I don't believe anything. Nothing.
Well, there's so many ways that I've seen that you could like just do stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, even I remember once somebody like was vaping and they're like, watch this. And they blew it. And then they took a picture.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, he's like, see how, you know, this is just, you know, somebody could fake this so easy.
Right. Yeah. And unless you're there, you know, people could tell you, oh, nobody was smoking, nobody was vaping, you know, but
there's so many ways that videos and photos can be contaminated. It's ridiculous. I've seen photos of this, what a person called a portal. Somebody actually figured out it was a camera strap. It was the flash hit it and it was shining and it was like so distorted you couldn't tell it was a camera strap.
Right.
But there's so much things out there like that.
Yeah. Like the person that took it, I'm sure they didn't do it on purpose. Like I'm sure they weren't holding the camera strap and like purposely, you know. So like to them it was like a fluid motion, nothing weird happened, you know. So they 100% believe it.
Right. But they're not thinking that they faked it.
Yeah, they didn't do it on purpose. I mean, there are people that do it on purpose, but sometimes shit happens that you can't control.
Yeah.
Like Uncle Tony with all of his dust orbs.
Yeah. Dude, did you see this orb?
Oh gosh.
Just kidding.
The orbs are rough.
Yeah, like Kenny, when people bring me photo stuff and footage or video, I'm usually just like, I don't know. More because I don't want to tell them that I think it's not what they think it is. But
yeah. And especially like sometimes you honestly have to gauge people, because if you say like, well, we do have a window there that faces the street, so it could be a car light. And then they're like, no, you know, and they get like super pissed off at you. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to fight you over this.
Because they want that evidence. You know, they want that, you know, they really want to believe it.
I mean, everybody wants the evidence. That's why we do this. But at the same time, like, I don't want evidence to be put out there that can be easily disproved. You know what I mean? That just, people already think we're crazy. We don't need to, like, make it worse, you know?
Let's see. Eddie had a question, I guess, for me specifically, but tell me about Old Licking County Jail. What's the best areas to investigate? Eddie, how do I explain this? When I was there, the one time I've been there, it was somebody else's deal. They just kind of invited us to come along. So the whole kind of most of the investigation was revolving around this medium and what she was picking up and what she was feeling. So we didn't get a chance to like full on investigate. What little we did, Mike, do you remember what floor it was on?
Was it the upper, like the upper jail, or was it I think it was downstairs. We had the word, like, kind of the feelings in the basement.
The basement, we had a weird feeling. We were getting really sick, nauseous. That's where they've seen like a creeper
crawler
crawl across the floor. Didn't we hear somebody scream? We heard somebody scream. We heard a distant voice.
Oh, the third floor?
No, that was in the basement.
It was in the basement? I'm trying to get it, because I know our Columbus group, I can't remember what floor it was, they had that plasma ball and it went.
I remember we were down there talking, and it was during Terry's tour. We just gotten there, and we were talking, and this lady's voice came through. Like, everybody heard it. Like, it's like they were trying to interject into the conversation.
Yeah.
And everybody's like looking around to see who said it, and none of us said it. I remember that.
That was in the
basement.
Yeah.
Mike, we lost your sound. Can you guys hear me?
What? Yeah, barely. I can hear you.
Yeah, you're kind of a little bit faded, but we can hear you.
Oh.
Are we not supposed to talk?
I know.
I think he's listening to
that.
Sorry, I lost sound. I don't know what happened.
Oh, can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
My speaker decided to shut off. I'm using an external speaker because my headphones weren't working. So for whatever reason, it just decided to turn off.
Oh.
Weird. Yeah.
Andy, I could tell you that you'll be able to scare somebody probably in the windows.
Oh, geez.
So Eddie, definitely the basement of the jail. We had, I can't remember what cell floor it was. We had a lot of the EDI device was going off when we were asking. We were recreating like lights out type scenario, walking up and down the middle of the aisle. Everybody lights out, hit the beds, doing like cell checks and stuff like that. And the EDI device was going just completely haywire.
Nice.
Forgive me for not remembering his name, but was it in the cell where the deputy there that they dragged out?
Yeah, it was in that floor.
Was it that cell?
Yeah, it was wherever. Yeah. So wherever that cell was, that's where we were getting some evidence. And Jeff Fence Geobox was going off. He was there with us too. His Geobox was going crazy pretty much everywhere he took it. So the whole place. I mean,
Wolver was with us too.
Yeah, Wolver was with us.
Nice.
It was actually Annie Weaves. They were just filming her doing some stuff there. So most of it was just kind of just following her around and interacting with her. But yeah, we were supposed to go back there right in March when all this happened. I think it was like, or was it June? I can't remember. But we were scheduled to go June. There. Yeah, and obviously it got shut down. But
right. Yeah. I actually didn't even know they were open again. That's pretty cool. I'm glad.
Yeah, I heard they were open
for now.
I think they're booking
shit.
Yeah. I have a feeling we're going to be heading back into a lockdown.
Oh no.
Yep.
Let's not talk about that. There's enough of that shit all over the place.
Right. Tim Kummer, the location we're talking about. We were talking about the old Licking County Jail in Newark, Ohio.
Yeah.
Run by Terry Long. It's a part of the Historical Society down there. It's a beautiful building. Really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an amazing building. And yeah, like I said, we were supposed to go down there in June. COVID happened. It got shut down. We didn't get to go. So hopefully we'll get another chance.
Yeah, that's one of the things like in the paranormal that I like is the architecture of the buildings. Like,
right?
Especially the old ones. That's one of my favorite things. Like I want to look around and see the arches, see the the outside that like Old Licking County almost looks like a castle.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah. It's almost the same kind of architecture that the Ohio State Reformatory Mansfield is.
Yeah.
But on a smaller scale. Like
right.
And it's like right in the middle of downtown. It's like crazy.
That's so weird.
We'll hear some train sounds probably.
Yeah, the train will get a little crazy. I mean, it is depending on what time you go, you might have a lot of outside noise because, well, I don't know about now because there's really nothing going on.
Yeah. All the bars and stuff close at 10. So
once the grocery store across the street closed, I think it really got. Well, there was some kind of store right across the street. Once that closed, it really got quiet.
For the short amount of time we were there, I don't really recall any problems with outside contamination.
Not that time. I've been there when you hear the trains, though. But it's like I said, it's not all the time. It's intermittent.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a cool location, and I would gladly go back there.
I don't care what it is. I mean, we get to see so many beautiful buildings,
right?
And even if I go, like, you know, I always say like Waverly Hills is like, as far paranormally speaking, activity speaking, I think it's way blown out of proportion in the paranormal field. Only because
he said it.
Yeah, whatever.
No,
but here's the thing: I love going there
a lot, though.
Yeah, I will go there again because the building is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing to explore these buildings, and even if you don't see ghosts coming at you or get the ultimate EVP, you get to be a part of that building and you get to see it. You get to enjoy the architecture, and it's cool because you can almost see what it looked like back in its heyday.
Yeah, I'm such a nerd like that. Like, even still, 2.5 years I've been going to the seminary, and sometimes I'll just walk down the hallway and I'm like, how many people walk down this hallway? You know what I mean? It's just it's amazing, and I love that part of it.
Yeah, and with Waverly, you know, there's an overwhelming sadness. Even if you're not seeing the ghost there, you can feel it.
Right.
And I'm not saying you can't feel it because it was a horrible place. I mean, that's where if you ended up there, chances are you weren't going to make it out because, you know, there was no cure for tuberculosis at that time.
Right.
So, but
Allegheny is a beautiful building too. Outside.
Oh, I want to go there so bad.
Yeah.
Cindy from Sweet Springs invited us to go down there, you know, because we're a Sweet Springs crew now. She stole us from Adam at MadCon, you know, and she invited us down, and I'm like, can we come during the day? Because I really want to see the building, like the outside. I want to see all of the rooms, you know, and then we could do the spooky stuff later, but I at least want to do a tour, you know, during the day. Oh my God. So pretty.
When we went to, I'm going to say this and then we'll get to Anne's question. Talking about walking property. When
I'll tell you why she's asking in a minute. Go ahead.
Yeah. When I went to Pennhurst and got to, the investigation was amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. And it fucked me up for a couple weeks after because it was so crazy. It was a game changer. But one of my favorite things was being able to walk the grounds and just take pictures of all these buildings. Now, 90% of the buildings there are in decay and falling down, and nature is definitely taking back over. But the photo opportunities and just there's a sense of beauty about it. And you know,
can you imagine that place if it was a little bit more fixed up? It would be like absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Not what happened inside of it, but the buildings. You know.
Right.
Yeah, but just like, and then like it was almost, I don't know, there was just, because it was such a sad and horrible place and how they treated towards the end treated people.
Yeah.
Seeing nature kind of reclaim that and like kind of cleanse it.
And make it beautiful again. Yeah.
You know, trees growing out of buildings where people were tortured or kept in.
Oh yeah, they're totally taking over that place. Like trees, nature is like, you could tell. Like there, like Ray said, there are actually trees growing out of some buildings.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's pretty cool. But let's go with Anne's question here. Do people ever experience paranormal activity on the outside of the buildings, on the grounds? Yes, absolutely they do.
So here's a backstory. Anne is one of my best friends. I've known her for a long time. And last weekend, she's not into the paranormal. So Anne, I appreciate you watching the show because I know that you're just watching because you're supportive. But last weekend we had Anne and a bunch of her friends who do metal detecting out at the building at the seminary.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
And so she's probably just worried that something's going to happen because we're planning to do it again. So tell her no, or she's not going to come back.
I can't lie to her.
Yep.
I know.
I can't either.
I know. Yeah.
I have many things happen on the outside of Madison when I used to like guard out there.
And you know what's crazy is when we went, she said the area that she wanted to go to was like over like towards the Potter's house, like on that side, on the west side of the building. Mm-hmm. And I always see people walking over there. Always see someone walking. You know, it's an apparition or whatever. And then I always see a woman on the fire escape, you know. Mm-hmm. So when she said she was drawn to that area, I was like, okay, yeah. That's totally safe over there. Go for it.
Yeah, we were there. It was right kind of like right towards the beginning, like probably the first winter that Adam was there. We were out. I just showed up. He was like burning a bunch of stuff. They had like a bunch of old paperwork and stuff that they dragged out of the building. Trent was there. All of a sudden, Trent comes running over. He's like, "Dude, you gotta check this out. I don't understand what this is." And we walked over. There's these like footprints. They were children's footprints, like shoe footprints in the snow, that just started all of a sudden, and they disappeared around the side of the building.
Wow.
There were no kids there.
Right.
And
Adam, nobody just like plopped a child in the middle of the field.
They like throw them in the middle of the field.
Yeah. It was so. I've never seen anything like that before. And I'm like trying to figure out, are these like some kind of animal? They were shoes. They were kids' shoes. And it was just, is it one of us have really small feet, or was this a ghost kid? Well, yeah, like Mike. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I know when we were doing like, was the west side? I'm not sure. Was that the side where the two reflectors are, where I used to park people?
Yeah.
I would hear people walk up behind me because I was out there. It was dark, and once everybody got pulled in, I would just stay in that area, and you could tell the difference because it was fall. You could tell the difference of leaves moving besides crunching as footsteps, And I would hear that all the time out there, and I was just like, I actually got used to it. And I'd be like, hey, what's up? And then once walking down that road, that back area, I heard a, and it was clear as day. And I was like, oh. Then I had to walk back to see what it was, in case somebody was messing around back there.
Yeah.
That outside's, yes, definitely.
Yeah, when he had me staged basically I was sitting on the Civil War steps on the outside, watching as people were pulling in during the abatement.
Old abatement.
The abatement, quote unquote. There were times where I was getting up and having to walk around because I heard people talking, like two men talking to each other. I'm like, all right, who's fucking around? I get up and like walk, because it was coming from like right on the other side of the hedge there, the hedge that runs up and down the driveway.
Yeah.
And I could not figure it out, and I'd hear a bunch of footsteps, and Adam, was back and forth all night, and I figured he was just coming up, to see what was going on or whatever. And I'd get up and walk around. There's nobody. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
I remember that night because I was there, and you were like, are you talking?
Yeah.
And I was like, who am I talking to?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy
some weird
stuff
that happens outside too.
Yeah.
I think that I wasn't equipped for before I came. Like the early days, I don't think I could have handled it. Like I'm loving the Jeff Fent Stadium lighting in the back. Like it's so bright. It's so nice. I don't know. We had to turn the lights off for something, and I was like, this is scary. And Kim was like, oh yeah, this is how it was all the time. And then Eddie, Eddie was like, yeah, this was just normal. I'm like, what?
There was no lights
when Ray and I were here. Like,
there was no lights when Ray and I were patrolling the ground.
Yeah, no, I was not equipped for that. I think it's good I came when I did, because I probably would have been
patrolling.
Like, I'm out.
John Ward, what's up, buddy?
John, where you been? God, we didn't talk about food this whole time.
He was probably taking fancy pictures with his wife.
Yeah, right.
They're so cute.
I like those pictures. They look badass, man.
I know. I love it. Yeah, no, Eddie.
Oh yeah, that before the exit lights and everything.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
No.
Pitch black. No electricity on the upper floors. Yeah. It was bad.
Yeah, it was just blackness.
So when I came for my original flashlight tour, I would have been like, "Thanks, that was a really good tour. I'll never be back again." You know, I wouldn't have been able to handle it.
But you got used to it. I mean, you know, it was like back in the asylum area. You know, when you go back down those hallways.
Yeah.
It was really dark, and like when you saw it get darker than dark, like you know we've all seen. You're like, oh shit, because it was already really dark.
Right.
Yeah, like now you can kind of get away with not using your flashlight most of the time. Yeah. But back then it was not safe. You had to have a light because it was so dark. And you had so much crap in those rooms. It was like it was hard to investigate there. Because you could just walk into shit and yeah.
Yeah, I remember when you guys would stay there and I was glad that I didn't have to stay there, to be honest with you, because I don't think I would have been wanting to walk down the bathroom. You would have seen me like peeing out the window. I'm not gonna lie.
Right? You could pee in a bottle.
John said the chicken coop at Fairfield was awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. He was just down there at Fairfield this last weekend.
Yeah, that was a big group of people.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. Got to get down there. I need to check that out.
Yeah, I gotta get down there.
And Eddie was talking about
I feel like it's been a long time. And it has. I mean, it was MadCon, but it feels like it's been a long time.
Right. Well, you know, 2020 feels like a long time, so.
That's true.
Yeah.
What's the memes been saying? This week has been the longest month I've ever had.
Yes. Gosh. Oh, I'm gonna go see.
I totally forgot that tomorrow's Friday the 13th. I didn't think about it.
Yeah, that's exciting. Just what we need.
Yep.
I'm just glad we got through my favorite holiday, which is daylight savings time. Because I love when it gets dark at like 5 o'clock. I am the happiest. The happiest.
So weird.
I used to love it, man, but my body cannot take it anymore.
No, I love it.
I don't even know what's going on.
Like no, John, I have not been down there yet. I was down there a couple weekends ago, but I just walked around the outside because I don't know what was going on. I don't know if anybody was there or not. There's nobody really to let me in, but yeah, I wanted to go in. But just walking the grounds, it felt really off and weird. Like I almost fell a couple times because I was getting like lightheaded. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But
it's definitely pretty intense.
I love daylight savings time. Don't like the spring one though. Don't like the spring one at all.
Pepsi, so
right. We don't take your opinion very seriously.
You're like warm Pepsi and daylight savings time. All right.
And you eat mango.
I can't even.
Mango is delicious.
You can't cut your own mango.
You don't know how hard it is. Kate had to Google it to cut it right. When you have to Google something, it's not easy. It's not right.
Yeah, last weekend we had a fire, and you know we weren't planning on it. We were doing yard work, so we decided, oh, what the hell, let's just start a fire. And you know, we're out there for a while. It gets dark, and I'm like, all right, guys, we should probably go in. It's probably bedtime, and we go in. It's like 6:15, and I'm like, oh my god, what is happening? I don't even. And I still haven't even gotten like back to normal yet.
No, it's been long enough. I should be used to it by now.
No.
But I'm like, I get home and I'm like sitting, like falling asleep. I'm like, okay, it's got to be close to 10:30, which is my normal bedtime. And I look
5:45.
Yeah, it's like, I'm like, what the hell? I got to go to bed.
Yeah, right.
I end up falling asleep on the couch for like an hour.
Did you drive down the Fairfield by yourself?
No,
Addie?
No, she's talking about me. We went to Hocking Hill for the weekend. We got a cabin for a little kid. Unfortunately, it didn't end so well because, you know, obvious reasons. But Fairfield, I mean, literally, if you take one set of directions, and it's not the longest, but it's not the shortest route. Like if you use Google Maps, but you literally drive right by Fairfield, and I'm like, okay,
nice.
Guess which way we're going, everybody.
Yeah.
We drove, and it was right there. We came up right on it, and
yeah, I was going to be very upset if you just drove there by yourself and didn't take
right.
No, it was en route to a family trip, but that gave me an awesome idea for a weekender. Get a cabin at Hocking Hills, Fairfield be one night, and then just chill
at the family. And
yeah. But chill at the cabin or a cabin for the rest of the weekend, and
yeah.
The cabin
I'd become a hypocrite because I even told Kate, I was like, I'm not camping in a cabin. You're still out in the woods.
Dude.
Nah, the bad
This cabin was nicer than my own house.
Right.
It wasn't this was brand new pine. I mean, this place was beautiful. Big bedrooms, a freaking sauna outside. I mean, this thing was nice.
Yeah.
But I always
that's how you catch a Bigfoot. You walk out there and he's sitting in the sauna.
Right? He's in the hot tub drinking
water. Ray.
But I mean, to get to the cabin itself was hilly and all over the place, but you didn't really feel like you were out in the middle of the woods because there was a regular person's house right across the street.
Oh, nice.
And people's had just built mobile homes around that, is their cabin. So, the street itself was pretty populated. It wasn't out in the middle of nowhere, cabin in the woods type of thing, but it was woodsy enough. Our backyard, we couldn't see anybody. And we had a big deck with a sauna on it. It was nice. I didn't want to leave.
That's nice. Yeah.
But yeah, Fairfield was right on the way. So I had to take the chance to just get out and walk around a little bit. Got to see the buses, the American Horror Story bus.
I wants to see those so bad.
Pretty sweet. Oh, I lost sound again.
I think I got a dependable car now, Ray, so we can go places.
Galaxy, I think.
What's this at?
It's not that much further for you guys, is it?
But I might have a dependable car now, so we can go.
Yeah, I'm kind of going through the same situation now, man. My truck is sitting broken down in my driveway.
Oh, I like your truck.
I know, but it's rusting out so bad, and I got a bad tire, and I think there's something wrong with my transmission. An old truck.
I got a nice 2011 Ford Explorer that somebody loaded up when they got it for 60 with 67,000 miles on it.
Wow.
Nice.
It's gold. I named her Blanche.
Nice.
Your golden girl.
Blanche Devereaux.
Love it.
I want to come see you, Addie. It's not even a Fairfield. I miss you.
I know, right?
Was it you're going to be at one place and you're at the other?
Musical paranormal buildings.
Right. Yeah, no
kidding.
Musical
chairs.
She's all over the place.
But these guys are traveling. All of a sudden they'll be at Madison, then they're at Fairfield.
Right.
Tennessee. I'm like, where the fuck's everybody going?
Yeah. Oh, she did just go to Tennessee. Yeah, and Kimmel will be like, "Oh, I'm just gonna run to Fairfield to pick something up." I'm like, "That's 7 hours round trip," and you're like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go
run to Fairfield."
Right.
Well, that's like him coming at the end of the night to do business at Madison. When he's living in Pittsburgh, I'll just shoot over. I mean, I know it's still for me an hour and a half, 2 hours is I'm not doing that at 8 o'clock at night. I'm sorry, I'm old. I ain't doing it.
Listen, you think I go to the seminary, that's a mile down the road, and I would go to work, and that's a mile down the road. That was the extent of my travel. Addie is traveling 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Kimmel's driving to Fairfield to pick something up and come right back.
Yeah. And I hate to go down to the gas station. I'm like, oh, that's too far.
Right.
I complained that my wife got a little PO because I didn't want to go to Giant Eagle and it was a curbside pickup. I didn't even have to.
Nice. You didn't even have to get out of the car.
I just got home from work. Right. She's like, "Excuse me?" I'm on my way.
Yeah, that's funny. If Kate says something, I jump. Otherwise, I'm like, well, I could do without cigarettes. And I really can't. But I like try to act like I can.
Yeah.
And seriously, it's like a mile down the road, and I'm just like, ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got spoiled for sure over the last couple of years. Like I don't have to. Well, I used to work in downtown Cleveland. That was like an hour and a half commute each way. You know, so
traffic and everything, man.
Now I don't like to drive anywhere. But luckily, normally when I go somewhere, I go with Shelly, and she doesn't like to have anyone else drive. And I hate driving, so I'm like, this is perfect. I
hate driving as well, but I don't mind in my new car.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, so you guys will have to go down.
Yeah, Ray, I'll tell you this: moving from an SUV from a truck is very difficult, to me at least.
Oh yeah, I know. I've been driving my wife's Santa Fe for the last few days.
I'm like, blind spot mirrors. How do these work?
Dude, I still make the big step to get up, and I fall into the seat because I'm like,
or like that was one of the hardest things for me to get used to. Actually, like stepping up into my truck, and now I just slide right.
Especially on my truck, it's so rusty you can't put floorboards on it, so like or side steps. So like I had to like basically jump into it. So I like did that in my wife's car the first couple times and like bonked my head and or I'll swing both legs out to get out of it like I'm about to like jump down out of it.
And probably looks so ridiculous.
What the hell's
I do the same thing, man.
Like the people in the parking lot are probably just like, what?
Oh, we have a serious question from Addie.
Addie brought a question up.
Oh my gosh.
What's everyone's favorite dinosaur? That would be Ray. Oh.
I have so many.
Son of a bitch.
And I'm older than you, so.
Right? What's my favorite
dinosaur? Favorite dinosaur.
Hmm.
You know what? I'm gonna go because I love them in Jurassic Park. The raptors, man.
Yeah, kind of cool.
Yeah.
And also, it reminds me of home.
Like, you know
the meme. You know the meme where it's like what I thought it was gonna be like having kids and what it's actually like, and it's him and in the raptor pen. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what my house is like.
I was gonna be like, well, I'm not going near Denise's house. There's fucking dinosaurs there.
I do. I have chickens. They're like little velociraptors when they run. Seriously, do you ever see a chicken run? It's so cute.
Yeah.
They look like tiny little raptors.
This is bad, but I call Lincoln Tina because have you ever seen Bob's Burgers?
Yeah.
He runs like he's got his head forward. I'm like, no, Tina.
Oh, he's so cute. He's getting so big.
He cracks me up. He's starting to laugh now when I say it sometimes.
Oh gosh.
His name's Tina.
Right? He's gonna go to school and they're gonna be like, "What's your name?" He's gonna be like, "Tina." My dad calls me Tina.
Well, yeah, it's funny when he runs like that.
Did you pick a dinosaur, Denise?
No. I can't. That's like.
You afraid you're gonna offend them? They're gone.
Are they?
Well, apparently not at your house.
I don't know.
I'm gonna go with Triceratops.
Bitch.
Because they're short, fat, and horny.
Oh my god.
But
And plus, anytime I think of dinosaurs, I always think of the Land Before Time movies.
Yeah.
So like the long necks will always be my favorite.
Brontosaurus.
So cute.
Great horns don't play with long necks.
I'm not wrong.
Yeah, probably.
It's crazy. Especially now that they're home 24/7.
Dinosaur yet.
Gosh. Just wait. Don't have any more kids, Heisenberg, or space them out.
Like, 2 was the magic number, and it's perfect.
I got gross.
I'm gonna say 1's the magic number.
Hey, man.
Yeah. Listen, there's 7 years between Ryan and then Everett. So that was cool. By then, Ryan was like already getting himself on the bus, like taking care of himself. It was fine.
We wait 7 years, I'll be 50 something.
Having two boys that are 2 years apart, 2 years and 20 days apart. It's velociraptors, I'm telling you.
My brother and I are 5 years apart.
Yeah, is that bad?
No, it's good.
Oh, do you beat each other up all the time?
I needed a punching bag.
My brother and I are the same. We're 5 years apart. But I was the older brother, so it was kind of weird. It's like once I hit like 13, it was like we just lost like any kind of connection.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't on purpose. It just at that point you're
going your own way, you know.
Yeah, like the little boys will be like, "Hey Ryan, do you want to play Fortnite?" Like Ryan's 16, he has a girlfriend. He doesn't want to play Fortnite with his little brothers. So that's hard, but at least they're not punching each other.
Yeah.
You know what? That's kind of funny because I went and visited my brother last summer. He's like, "You want to play Fortnite?" I was like, "Dude, I don't even know how to even begin playing Fortnite." So,
right? Gosh, and Minecraft. People are trying to get me to play Minecraft too.
I do enjoy visiting my brother because he lives right across the street from an old cemetery, like super old cemetery. That's actually, if you look up Weird Ohio, or is it Crazy Ohio, or maybe it's Haunted Ohio. Anyways, it's one of those it's one of those websites that shows you like all the places in Ohio, and that cemetery is on the list. And he like lives right there. But his wife's like all weird about us going over there with like any of my equipment because she doesn't want us bringing anything back to the house. So
that's good. That only happens when you bring equipment. So
yeah, right. Dwight said fork knife.
Hey, somebody could call it that, or somebody would have called it that before. I'd be like, okay, I don't know how to play Fortnite, but
I totally still don't want to play. Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of equipment, Heisenberg, did you see I got my Phasma box?
I saw that. I'm jealous.
As you should be. That was an amazing prize.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm getting my drone tomorrow.
What?
You got it?
Yep. Awesome. Kate bought it for me off Amazon.
Nice.
My birthday.
Better get some flight time in, man. We got to use it.
Yeah, true.
I think she's gonna make me read the user manual though first. Something about that. I don't know.
At least watch a YouTube video.
Right.
Well, I'll be out there going, I broke my drone.
Right.
Like you won't even make it to filming.
Right.
I ran into your car. By the way, your windshield's broken too.
Dude, but no, seriously. I mean, you got that park right around the corner. That'd be perfect spot to learn.
I got no power lines or anything. No, barely any trees.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's funny. I already texted Aaron. I was like, I'm gonna fly my drone on Saturday. You want to come out?
That's fun.
Yeah, he said awesome.
Well, I think you're overestimating my. I was going to agree with you, but then I was like,
Can I?
He's the man that's like every week because he can't figure out how to click on a link to get on the show.
Hey, he was the same thing, man. He said the same thing.
How do I do this? How does it go?
Can you tag me so I can find the show? That was my favorite. That was when we were actually in the studio.
Yeah.
When that happened. He's like, I can't find it. Can somebody tag me?
I know how to do that now.
So how was your Phasma box working? I know you said you were kind of using a little bit.
Oh my God. Listen, I don't investigate at my house. Look, I know there's stuff here. Me and all of my kids have seen a man in the house, and all of the kids have seen a little girl in the house. Okay. So we know there's a man here. We know there's a little girl here. I turned on the Phasma box. I just want to test it out, see how it works, make sure I installed it. So I wanted to make sure I did it right, So I turn it on, and the first thing is a man saying, "She can hear us." And then the little girl goes, "She's so nice." And I was like, let's turn this off. No more. And the kids are like, who was that talking? Yeah, it's good. Turn it off. Throw it across the room. Oh,
that is weird.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, it definitely works. That's great.
Oh, you guys are making me so jealous. I have no new equipment to play with.
Let's start entering the raffles, man.
I do. I have. I'm only like going after like some of the equipment that I like don't have.
Yeah.
Like if it's an EMF reader or whatever. I mean, I already have the EDI device. We have a millimeter we use. So I'm like picking and choosing in my battles. Somebody won the camera that I wanted.
Yeah, I tried, Ray.
Addy.
Addy. I tried. I was so close to the camera.
Were you?
Half.
Oh.
I was sitting there watching. I was like, Addy.
I like when somebody.
Congratulations, Addy.
Yeah, exactly.
But I like what.
No. But at least it's Addy though.
Dwight League said he loves the Phasma box. Used it today.
Yeah.
It's probably the only app that I really enjoy using.
Right.
Holly said that her son crashed his the first day he got it. It was done for. Maybe I will read the manual.
Yeah. Watch a couple videos too on how to do it. You can literally learn anything on YouTube. So
I know I've fixed my truck from YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. So just watch a couple videos.
Old Furnace's life by probably about 5 years because of YouTube.
Yeah.
Well, Ann said, add your house to the list of places that freak me out.
Great. Now she's never
Probably Minor wants to know if you figured out your dowsing rods. Did you get dowsing rods? Did you win dowsing rods?
Not me. You.
Oh, okay. No, I did not. I have not figured them out yet, but I haven't had really the chance for the opportunity to. So, hopefully soon we'll get something going.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna win a raffle one of these days.
Yeah.
I was so mad when the electric or the heated jacket.
Oh yeah.
Canceled that one. I was like, no.
Yeah. I'm gonna send you a link, Heisenberg. Remind me. On this Amazon group, they keep having them on sale for like 40 to 60% off.
Yeah, send me that link.
Oh, Dwight League said
link.
He said baby steps. Oh.
As far as I think is learning to fly the drone.
We had
I'm so excited. It's like I'm getting it, but I'm not. I know it's Bradley, but
you can fly it.
Yeah, you'll still get to fly it.
No, I ain't touching that thing.
Well, it was like
how to fly it, and I'll tell you where to fly it and get the shots that I want.
There you go.
It was like $139, and Kate was like, "Oh, I got it from 84. She's a Prime member or something." I was like,
"Nice."
I was like,
"Nice.
Can I go buy the $29 one I saw at Home Depot then to practice?"
Yeah.
We were at Home Depot and I was like, "Oh, look, $29. We could practice." She goes, "No."
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
She goes, "You don't get 2 drones."
But it's really going to save you money in the end.
Yeah. Hey, Bearded Paranormal.
Bearded Paranormal. Then he said, "Sorry, he had to work, so I missed out." Excuses, man.
Right? Quit your job, Brian.
And Thursday night. No excuses.
So we had. Sorry, I'm still stuck on Heisenberg crashing his drone. We had a team come out, and this guy, before he was at the seminary, he was at OSR, and he was flying his drone, and it was like, it's starting to get dark out, and a fucking bird came and flew into the drone and crashed it. He's like, I'm really good at flying this thing, and I wasn't doing anything wrong, but it's destroyed. So you got to be careful.
That sucks.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, Brian, you got to rewatch it. The first hour with Kenny was really interesting. It was good.
It was. That hour flew.
I'm surprised there's still 12 people watching us just banter on about
dinosaurs and
being short, fat, horny dinosaurs and
Hey, we're an open forum, man.
That's
we'll
true.
answer any question.
That's true.
No hold barred.
I'm not going to go that far. I mean, this is not like truth or dare, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I always crash mine or it keeps flying away from me. Isn't it supposed to fly away from you?
Yeah.
You don't want to fly
supposed to fly at you.
Right? Yeah.
I don't think. If so, I don't know if I want one.
Yeah.
He chased me around the park.
No, you want one.
That would make for a good video, though.
I want you to have one.
Yeah.
Of course you do.
I also want you to have this camera and this
camera.
Yeah,
and this equipment.
I got a list. I'll send it to
you. Now, it's only a 2K camera, though, so can't get too fancy with it.
That's fine.
What's that?
So it's only a 2K camera, so we can't get too fancy with it.
2K, 4K.
I don't understand the Ks.
Does it shoot 1080p?
I don't know.
Just send him a picture of the box.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one I got.
Yeah.
Anne would like to hear more about the outside ghosts.
Look at you being brave, Anne.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. They're probably outside your house.
Just talk to them when you're
probably right outside your window.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Sorry.
Well, outside ghosts are outside.
Yeah. That's where we saw the little girl at my house.
Have a good night, Dwight. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully we'll see you back here next week.
Yeah, see you later, Dwight.
Speaking of, we actually have like barely 4 minutes left. So.
Oh my gosh.
The second hour went quick.
Hey, I had something I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, we're going to be doing a contest on our Facebook page. Yes. So
you guys
if you're
are
not following,
first.
You know, all 7 of you, if you're not following the Facebook page, make sure you do that, because in the next day or 2 we're going to have a contest. So pay attention for that.
Can I enter the contest?
Can we? I want to. I want the prize. No, we cannot.
I gotta find my Cryptic Paranormal shirt. I bet you it's in Kate's dresser. She takes all my shirts. I'm not afraid to say it. She takes all my shirts, all my dark out, all my paranormal shirts. She has. She has the Goose Project ones.
Nice. Oh my gosh, Holly's got a list too, and Anne hates me officially.
Aww.
Well, you know, just talk about it with the ghost outside your window.
He could be your new.
So yeah, guys, crypto head T-shirt. I'm wearing it right here.
Yeah.
Gone ghosting.
I wasn't going to tell people what we were giving away, but okay.
Oh shit!
Oh.
My went out, so I didn't hear that part. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Maybe a Cryptic Paranormal shirt.
Maybe. We'll see. Follow the page to find out.
It's my actual shirt off my body.
It'll be autographed, and he's not going to wash it though.
No. Got to get the full
goose essence.
Essence of goose.
Oh. Yes.
That doesn't sound right.
It'll be the most popular perfume in the Christmas season. I can't wait to see the fancy commercial for it. Yes.
You guys are off the rails.
Paris.
Oh God.
All right, we've lost.
Yep. On that note.
This is what happens at like 2:00 in our investigations.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it feels like daylight savings bullshit. It feels like it's like 3 a.m. Like I need to go to like get ready for work.
Right.
See, I love it. I look out and I look outside and I'm like, oh, and I look up at the clock and it's 6:00 and I'm like, oh yeah.
It was awesome yesterday.
I guess that's a good point.
It was awesome yesterday when we had so much running around we had to get done. Like the girls had Girl Scouts, Eliza had to be somewhere, Piper. I felt like we actually had enough time in the day to get it done. But anyways, well, Crypto Heads, it's about that time.
Sure.
Time to bid you adieu and or oh my gosh, we've absolutely lost it. All right, wheels are officially off. It's time for us to sign off. This locomotive has derailed.
Thanks for joining the shit show. We'll see you next week.
It was a slow burn.
Actually, real quick, just so you know who's on next week, we have Dustin Pari, one of the original Ghost Hunter crew. Will be on the show next week. He'll be on the second hour, so we gotta entertain you for the first hour from 8 to 9, and then Dustin will be on from 9 to 10. So,
you're screwed.
Yeah. Drink a lot of coffee.
Right.
Be much more prepared in the second hour. The second hour is usually the crazy hour, but we'll figure it out. It'll be interesting. Yeah. Dustin's a great guy. I've met him personally a few times. Really cool dude. Does a lot of non-paranormal work and suicide prevention. He does a lot of lectures about just how to live life and live it happy.
Awesome.
So he'll be on. Yeah, that's it.
He was on International too, right?
Yeah. He was on the original, and then he was like one of the main investigators on International. So really cool guy.
Very cool.
Looking forward to that. So we will spook you later, Crypto Heads.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Everybody have a good night. We'll see you next week.